I've been listening to this recording for 3 weeks now. Found it on an old cassette player in my grandfather's basement, tucked behind boxes of Christmas decorations that hadn't seen daylight in decades. The label reads, Session 47, Do Not Erase, in his careful handwriting. But here's the thing that keeps me awake at night. I recognize the voice on the tape. It's mine. The recording starts with the hum of fluorescent lights, that particular electrical buzz you hear in office buildings after hours. My voice, or what sounds exactly like my voice, begins speaking about a consultation I supposedly had with a client named Margaret Holloway. I describe her detailed account of sleepwalking episodes, how she'd wake up in her kitchen with dirt under her fingernails and no memory of going outside. The problem is I've never been a therapist. I work in data entry for an insurance company. But as I listen, I can picture Margaret clearly, 63 years old, silver hair pulled back in a loose bun, wearing a navy cardigan with small pearl buttons. I can see the way she twisted her wedding ring when she spoke about finding garden soil on her bedroom floor. The consultation room had beige walls and a water stain on the ceiling shaped like a crescent moon. I remember the smell of coffee gone cold and the sound of rain against windows that faced an empty parking lot. The voice on the tape, my voice, explains Margaret's treatment plan with clinical precision. Cognitive behavioral therapy sessions twice weekly. Sleep study recommendations, medication adjustments. I hear myself discussing her childhood trauma, her mother's death when she was 9, the recurring dreams of walking through tall grass toward a distant light. Every detail feels authentically remembered, yet I know with absolute certainty that I've never met this woman. I've started checking my grandfather's medical records. He was indeed a licensed psychologist until his retirement in 1987. His practice specialized in sleep disorders and dissociative conditions. The basement where I found the tape contains dozens of similar recordings, all labeled with session numbers and the same warning, not to erase. Most are his voice conducting actual sessions with patients whose names I don't recognize, but scattered throughout are tapes featuring my voice, discussing cases I have no memory of handling. The most unsettling discovery came when I found Margaret Holloway's actual file. She was a real patient of my grandfather's from 1983 to 1985. The treatment notes match exactly what I hear myself describing on the tape. Her sleepwalking episodes, the dirt under her fingernails, even the detail about the pearl buttons on her cardigan. It's all documented in my grandfather's meticulous handwriting. But the final entry in her file is dated 3 months before I was born. I've been having trouble sleeping. Since I started listening to these recordings, sometimes I wake up standing in my kitchen, though I live in a third-floor apartment with no garden access. There's never any dirt under my fingernails, but I smell earth and wet leaves, that particular scent of soil after heavy rain. My hands feel cold, as if I've been touching something damp and organic in the dark. Yesterday, I called the number listed in Margaret's file, expecting to reach a disconnected line or someone who'd never heard of her. A woman answered on the third ring. When I asked about Margaret Holloway, there was a... Before she said, "My mother passed away last month. Who is this?" I hung up without answering, but not before I heard something that made my blood turn cold. The woman's voice had the same intonation as mine, the same slight upturn at the end of questions. Tonight, I'm going to record myself while I sleep. I've set up my phone to capture audio for 8 hours, positioned it where it can't be easily found if I do get up and move around. Part of me hopes it will only record silence, and the occasional snore, proof that whatever's happening exists only in my increasingly unreliable mind. But another part of me, the part that can perfectly recall the taste of that cold coffee in a consultation room I've never visited, knows exactly what I'll find when I play back the recording. I think about my grandfather's final years, how he'd sometimes call me by names I didn't recognize, how he'd ask about patients as if I should remember treating them. The family assumed it was dementia, the natural decline of an aging mind. But what if he was trying to tell us something else? What if he recognized something familiar in my voice? Something that connected me to work I'd never done, with people I'd never met. The recording of session number 47 ends with my voice saying,
Margaret, I want you to remember that these episodes don't define you. You're not responsible for what happens when you're not fully present.
But as I listen now, I wonder if those words were meant for someone else entirely. Someone who might be listening to this tape decades later, trying to understand why they remember things that never happened to them. If you're wondering what's real, maybe you should sign up for the channel's newsletter for new stories.